Dear students, good morning. Today we are going to discuss on interrupt hardware and the types of interrupts. First of all, what do you mean by an interrupt? An interrupt is the process of intervening in between the activity. Suppose we are doing our for example, a person is doing something. While doing his work, if anybody requests him to do some other task which is important, that is what we call as interruption. In your class environment, suppose the teacher is teaching on the board or explaining on the board. During the time, somebody asks, may I get in, or excuse me. Suppose that means for some other work. Suppose someone want to enter into the class, the permission of the teacher. So he will ask, excuse me, may I come in? That is called an interruption. Similarly, any activity, okay, whatever something is important or something is necessary, okay, those activities will be done in between of other activity. When you come to the programming language, when you come to the programming phenomena, suppose program A is there. In that program, if any interrupt instruction is there, that is called software instruction, software interrupt, okay, that will be executed, then it will come back to the original program. Okay, this is the process of interruption. That is the meaning of interruption. That is only to understand that I have explained that. Then when here there are two types of interrupts. Basically, they are hardware interrupts and software interrupts. They are hardware interrupts and software interrupts. At present, we are discussing about the interrupt hardware. At present, we are discussing about the interrupt hardware. So, we are concentrating on hardware interrupt, how it will address the issue. Here, if you take any processor, it has some pins. Suppose if it is a 40 pin processor, 20 pins on left, 20 pins on right. Okay, that is what we call as dual package. Similarly, there may be possibility of quad package. Quad package means on four sides there are pins. That is called quad. Okay, dual means the pins are on two sides, left and right. Top and bottom are free. Quad, in the case of quad, all the four sides will have the pins. That is called quad. Here, the lower end processors have the dual package pins, DIP, dual in package. That is dual in package. It means the pins are on two sides, left and right. Here, there is a common pin in all the processors, approximately, that means almost all the processors will have a common pin that is called INTR pin. That is interrupt request. Okay. How that INTR will serve the purpose of connecting the IO devices. Generally, hardware interrupts are used to connect to the IO devices. Hardware interrupts are used to connect to the IO devices. Already we have discussed in the previous classes stating that the programmed IO concept is not so much effective. That means in programmed IO concept, that is programmable IO concept, the CPU utilization is wasted. To overcome that drawback, the alternative method will be interrupt-driven IO. For interrupt-driven IO, we require a hardware interrupt that is called INTR here. Here, the INTR pin is connected to all the IO devices, through interrupts. That means here INTR1, INTR2, so on to INTRN. That means here INTR1, this is related to one IO device, this is related to another IO device, so on. That means n number of IO devices are to be connected, okay, with their own interrupts to the INTR pin. This INTR pin is connected to n number of devices through n number of interrupts. This is showing in the diagram here. This is shown in the diagram. Okay. Suppose if any input device want to send the interrupt, means that the switch is to be closed. That here INTR1. Suppose the device which is connected to INTR1 want to request for the service of CPU. First, it has to, the concerned device has to close the INTR switch, INTR1 here, INTR1 switch. When this INTR1 switch is closed, then what will happen? This VDD, okay, the current will flow here. Then this entire, that is earlier this entire VDD appears across this resistor only. Now it appears across here. That is between ground and this one. That is here. The voltage at this position is 0. The voltage at the INTR line, the voltage at INTR line, that is at this point, is to be 0 when the switch is closed. If the switch is not closed, the voltage at this point is VDD. Why? Because of open circuit, the current will not pass here. Because of open circuit, the current will not pass here. So there is no drop in the resistor. So whatever the VD is there, that will appear on the INTR line. That is here. Wherever I am showing the cursor, if all the switches are opened, then the voltage, okay, at INTR line is VDD. That is 1. VDD means high. That is 1. If any one of the switch, INTR1 or INTR2 or so on to INTRN, if any one of the switch is closed, then there is a voltage drop in the resistor that is equivalent to VDD. Then the resultant voltage after the resistance, that is here on this line, on this INTR line, is 0. Okay. That means that is one aspect. Another aspect is here this is the ground, this one, here there is no drop here. So the voltage here is 0. 0 means it is logic 0. That is logic 0. Then here you see here is inverter is there. Here inverter is there. Whenever the switch INTR1 is closed, the voltage at INTR line is 0. That means it is logic 0. If it is logic 0, then what is this INTR here? The INTR line and INTR, there is a inverter. Here if it is 0 means, then you will get 1 here. Okay. Just observe the cursor, how I am moving. Here, if it is 0 here, then this here INTR will be 1. Why? Because there is a inverter here. 0 will be become 1 as the output of inverter. If all the switches are open, then here INTR line contains 1 here, that is VDD value. So after inversion, again it becomes 0. INTR means when any one of the switches is closed, that means the interrupt is requested. Okay, that is the explanation of this hardware. I'll repeat once again. When any one of the interrupt switches are closed, any one, either INTR1 or INTR2, so on, any one, need not all, any one switch is closed, okay, the interrupt is requested. Why? Because this INTR line will become 0 because there is a flow of this, there is a current flow from VDD to this path wherever the switch is closed. Then the voltage at this point is 0, okay, then that is to be inverted, which is given to INTR, that becomes 1. Okay, once the switch is closed INTR1, it means that the device which is connected to or related to the switch is requesting the CPU for service. Okay, that is the concept. Okay, that here you can note down here. An IO device requests an interrupt by activating a bus line called interrupt request. Here, what is bus line here? Bus line is this one. This is the bus line. This is the interrupt bus. This is called interrupt bus. Why? Because here many devices are connected for this line. Okay, this is interrupt line. Many devices are connected to the interrupt line. The devices connected will be n number. So all these devices have the right to close their switch and can request the CPU for service. If only one device, close its corresponding switch and request the CPU for service, then there is no problem. But here, there is a possibility of multiple devices can request the CPU for service simultaneously or at a time. Okay, there is a possibility. So in such case, how do you handle that? Okay, all those issues are to be discussed here. Here, I will go step by step. The first one is how it has to be constructed. That is, this is called interrupt hardware circuit. How the INTR is to be connected to the IO devices. That is to be explained here. An IO device requests an interrupt by activating a bus line called interrupt request. So how do we activate the bus line? How do you activate the bus line? By closing any one of the switch here, either INTR1 or INTR2 or any one is sufficient. Or you can switch switch on the multiples also. Need not be one. If INTR1 only is switched on, then interrupt is requested. If only INTR is 2 is switched on, that means the switched on means what do you call? The switch is closed. The switch is closed means on. The switch is open means off. If INTR2 is closed, that means on, then the interrupt line is activated. If both INTR1 and INTR2 is also activated, again the line is activated. Okay. Suppose if all the N devices are activated, if all the N switches are closed, that means on, again the line is activated. Okay, that's the meaning of it. If any one is activated, if any switch is closed or on, the line is activated. That's why you can see here, this is our operation. The interrupt is equal to interrupt 1 plus interrupt 2 plus so on to interrupt n. Okay, that is our logic. Okay. If one or more than one switch are closed, okay, if one or more than one, if one or more than one, if one or more than one switch is closed, okay, then the interrupt line is activated. Then here a single interrupt request line may be used to serve N devices. That means the same, here only one line is there, INTR line. This INTR line is used to serve N number of IO devices. Okay. Each device is connected through one interrupt. A single interrupt request line may be used to serve N devices. That means for the single interrupt line, you can connect N number of IO devices. The meaning of that, all connected to the line via switches to ground. How all those devices are to be connected are by using a switch. If the console switch is closed, then only that device is connected to the hardware line. Okay. If the switch is open, means the device is not connected to the hardware line. That means whenever the device is connected to the hardware line, that is hardware means INTR line, it means that it is requesting the CPU for service. Okay. Then for what purpose the switch is closed? To request an interrupt. To request an interrupt, a device closes its associated switch, then the voltage on the line, that is INTR line, drops to 0, causing that INTR to be 1. It is already explained earlier. That means when the switch is closed, then the current will pass from VDD to VDD through this path, through R, then to the path wherever the switch is closed. Wherever the switch is closed. Suppose INTRN switch is closed, then VDD R, then followed by the INTRN switch. Okay, this is the path. Okay, this is the path. In this path, okay, the entire VDD will be dissipated in the resistor R. That means then what is the voltage here? This VDD minus the entire will be dropped here. So here it is 0. That is one possibility. Another possibility is here the reference is 0 ground. Then here any drop is there, no drop. So again it is 0. So the voltage on this line, whatever I am moving the cursor here, the voltage on this line is 0 if any one of these switches are closed. If any one or more than one switch also. If two switches are more than 2 or more than 1 which are closed, again the voltage on this line will be 0. 0 means after inversion it becomes 1. That means that is INTR is equal to 1 here. 0 will become 1 through here. The line is the line voltage is 0 here, then causing the INTR is 1 because of inverter here. Because of inverter, 0 will become 1. That is this. I think now this slide is comfortable. So to explain how this circuit functions. Okay. Then the next one is how the situation handled during multiple interrupt requests. Already I have discussed just now. If only one interrupt is activated, then there is no problem. That corresponding request will be only INTR is only INTR1 switch is closed. Only that device which connected to INTR1 is serviced by the CPU. That means the CPU will provide the service for the corresponding IO device, not others. Okay. If only INTR2, the device which is connected to INTR2 is closed, switch is closed and connected, then that service is executed. Okay. That means the CPU will provide a service to the device which is connected to INTR2. Then there is no problem. But here the problem arises because if multiple devices are connected, okay, that means multiple interrupt switches here closed at once. Okay, sorry, connect cheste. If the devices or the interrupt switches are closed, okay, at once, then what will happen? So it will be considered, which will not be considered, or both will be considered. So how it will be dealt with? Okay, that is another situation we need to handle. That is what we call as multiple interrupts. In the case of one interrupt, there is no problem, but the line is connected to many devices through many interrupts. Okay, the same line. In that case, okay, how do you handle the interrupts? That we need to discuss. So, what are the possible cases here? Okay, we need to discuss. Here, there are three possible cases. There are three possible cases. Okay, the first two are similar to that. The third one is different. Okay, here it is essential to ensure that this active request signal does not lead to successive interruptions, causing the system to enter into an infinite loop. Suppose interrupt 1 is requested. Suppose interrupt 1 is requested. Okay. If it is continued forever, then it will be in infinite loop. So if it is always connected, suppose if always INTR1 is connected, once it is connected, okay, that will enter into, that means the CPU will provide the service. If it continues to be on, then what will happen? Always the CPU is in infinite loop, that is same loop. So that is another problem. Okay. So for that, what you do for giving the chance to the other one, whenever a switch is closed, whenever a switch is closed, okay, that you can see here. The first possibility is to have the processor hardware ignore the interrupt request line until the execution of first instruction of the ISR. Okay. So whenever we send the request, we means the IO device send the request by closing the switch to the processor, by closing the corresponding INTR switch to the processor, then it will not respond. That means hardware ignores the interrupt request line until the execution of the first instruction. Okay, that is there, which DA. DA means disable interrupt. Okay, here suppose INTR1 Okay, switch is closed. It means that the device which is connected to INTR1, okay, is requesting for the service of the processor. So once it is requested and INTR is 1, so what it knows, it reads the device status. So what is which device is requesting for service. So immediately what the processor has to do in the first case, first the processor has to go to the corresponding ISR. Then it has to disable all the interrupts. That means even though the interrupt line is activated, it is not considered because all the interrupts are that is disable interrupt. Once there is a instruction DA is written, that means until the next instruction EA comes, okay, till that time all the interrupts are disabled. That is the purpose of instruction DI, disable interrupt. There are instructions DI and SI. DI for disable interrupt, EA for enable interrupt. Okay. At the starting of generally ISR, I want to discuss about ISR in detail again. ISR is interrupt subroutine. And the starting of ISR, okay, the starting of ISR, we need to write DI. At the end of ISR, we need to write EI. Why? Because once the interrupt subroutine is taken for execution, no other interrupts are to be accepted. So that's why we are writing DI. Then once the ISR is over, that means the interrupt execution is over, then we can offer the other interrupts. So we write the instruction EI at the end of ISR. Always the ISR has DI is the first instruction, EI is the last instruction. Okay. This is what the only basic hardware structure. I will explain the next part in the next slide, next class.